Hey everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another episode in the building of our DeAgostini Renault Lotus 97T. Big news, we're going to be working on the front suspension again. However, the exciting thing is once we wrap up with today's stages, this will be mounted to the main frame of the car. So this will not be a standalone piece anymore. I'm really looking forward to that. This next stage coming up here is full of small fiddly little parts, and you'll see here in a second what I'm talking about. So I'm going to have to go through it methodically and very tediously so we don't miss anything, but it's going to be fun nonetheless. So without any further ado, let's start building. Okay, as mentioned earlier, stage 13 is more of the front lower suspension unit. However, near the end of this, we are going to finally attach this to the frame. The technical title for stage 13 is called the nose cone front bulkhead and pipe assembly. Not sure what they mean by pipes. I'm assuming maybe some exhaust systems, but I would have thought that's further toward the rear. That's where the engine's at. But anyway, nonetheless, whatever it is, we'll figure it out when we get to it. So let's go ahead and get this package opened up and see what we have. Again, lots of little itty bitty parts. I need to be careful when I open this, they don't go flying all over. I have a feeling I'm going to be using my tweezers a lot in this build as well. But yeah, look at all those itty bitty little parts. So go ahead and get our screws out. We've got some DMs, DPs. Again, M is for machine or metal, DP, P is for plastic. We've got some JMs and IMs. We'll call those the Yahweh screws. We got the AS5s known as the donkeys, and now we've got the IMs known as Yahweh. This is fun to make up little names like that. So let me go ahead and retrieve the parts we need for step one, and we will get right to it. Okay, so we're going to take this front bulkhead here that was supplied in this stage, and it's going to attach just ahead of the 3 foot pedals with 2 DP screws set into these outer holes here. Now, one of the things we want to do in addition to it is attach this clear, there it is. See, it's so clear I almost lost it. This clear tubing is going to attach to the brake biased adjuster. Now let's go ahead and attach it to the brake adjuster first. And now that I've learned to use a little dab of glue, let's go ahead and dab just a tad. Let me show you how I do it here. A toothpick and some super glue. And I'm just going to dab it right on the top. Just the littlest amount. And then we'll take our clear tubing and we'll just slide it right over top of that. Let me take my tweezers. There we go. Hopefully you can see that right there. Okay, now you'll notice on the bulkhead there's a little pin right here at the top that it's going to slide into on the other end of that. So let's go ahead and drop this into position. We can actually come back and do that after I mount it. So let's go ahead and it's in position. Let's rotate it and get our screws in from the bottom side. Okay, so that'll secure that bulkhead. Now there's just enough of that clear tubing to clear that, get onto that pin. So let's just take another little dab of super glue and just touch the very tip of that pin. And we'll take our tweezers, see what's the best way to do this here. Okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. Whoops. See if it's focusing. There we go. So you can see that clear tubing comes up from the bias adjuster up into the bulkhead. Just like that. We'll tuck it maybe in behind the gas pedal. I don't know. I don't think if I were driving I would want a pipe between the brake and the gas pedal. So I'm going to slip it in behind there. So, okay, that's the first fiddly little piece we got done on this step. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now we're going to insert the 2 brake master cylinders right behind the, I guess it would be the gas pedal and the brake pedal. But there's 2 of these units here that slip into that D-shaped hole. If you can see that, point it out to you here. Right here and right here. We're going to add this unit in cylinder here in a second, but we're going to do these first 2 first because they're identical. So it's going to be a little bit of a twisting job to get it in. The D slips in, but then you got to somehow force this into the hole. Oops, see, that damper fell off again. Okay, let me see if I can get this threaded in. There, the screw pulled it into alignment. Okay, see that damper keeps falling off, and I'm hesitant to glue it on, but the spring keeps falling off. I'm just not quite sure how to handle that yet. But let's get this other master cylinder installed. Okay, it's going to go right next door to the other one we just did. Okay, that kind of popped into place there. Okay, perfect. That pulled out right into position as well. Okay, so I'm still curious about that. All right, we're going to take one more of these DP screws and attach the clutch master cylinder into this port here on the right hand side, which is, I guess, technically the left side if you're facing the car in the right direction. Okay, perfect. All right, well, yeah, so that damper goes there, and this part goes right there. Yeah, we'll see. I think we're going to be attaching this to the main frame of the car here at the end of the stage, so if that's the case, and this is kind of somewhat permanently installed, I will go back in and add a drop of glue to hold that in position. So, all right, let's move on to the next step. Okay, this might be the fiddliest part of the build I've ever experienced and may experience for the duration. I've got to fit these little hydraulic fittings on the top of these master cylinders and attach these black hydraulic lines to them, as well as pins that are on the bulkhead and on the floor pan. Okay, so first what we want to do is we want to take this T-joint and attach. Okay, I don't think we're going to need any glue on that. That's pretty good. But you know, let's do it just in case. we'll do the other side. Okay, so that one's in. Now I got to figure out this. The one to the left is going to go to the outermost hole. You see there's two pins here on the bulkhead. It says the outermost one, so I assume that's the bottom left one. So let's first drop this into position on the back of the master cylinder. There we go. Oh, that's a good pressure fit there. Okay, so now I need to squeeze that into that pin there. So let's go ahead and just put a dab of glue there. Take our tweezers. Right into spot. There we go. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. There it is. I'm sure you can see it right there. Okay, now the other one, let me check the diagrams here. It's going to drop into this center pin right there on the floorboard. So let's just touch the glue barely. Grab our tweezers. There we go. Okay, so the length on those is just perfect. They give you just the right amount. Okay, now we want to take the other hydraulic attachment and let's put that other pipe on. Okay, and let me check and see where this is going to go. Okay, I had to make a quick adjustment. I had to pull that pipe off and insert the longer one because it has to stretch longer to get to that pin. So let me go ahead and dab just a touch of glue on the tip of that pin. I'm going to put the pipe on first and then we'll attach the attach it to the cylinder. Okay, that's in. Now let me rotate this over and plug it in. There, you can even hear it snap. Nice tight fit. All right, that's looking really, really good up in there. All right. Okay, this took a while. I had to figure out which of these two blue fittings were which was which. But the one that's got the short stubby end on it is going to go in the front spot there. So let me see if I can pick this up without flinging it like I just did. Okay, let me see if I can drop it in position. Nope. Strike one. Well, this is tedious little work here. I can't even hold it with the pliers or tweezers to see what end is which. Okay, so it goes this way. See if I can hold it and then press it. There we go. Okay, that fits nicely. Okay, the other one fits in the clutch cylinder just behind it. There we go. Okay, now we need to attach this cable or hydraulic line to the back fitting and that pin down there at the bottom. So let me just put a couple dabs of glue on each end. Okay. Okay, there we go. You can see that looped into place there. Well, I'm not sure if this is easier or harder than building the real thing, to be honest with you. Okay, this is going to be another fun one. So these two posts here are identical, and the fittings on top are identical, so I'm going to get them fitted in first before I get concerned about aligning the actual hose or pipe. Okay, so now we're going to take this itty bitty clear, I don't know if you can even see that. Okay, let me dab just a little bit of glue on one of these. Actually, I guess I can do both. And we'll slip this over. Okay, so now these are going to line up. They're going to fit into the top of the brake master cylinders. Let me just do a test fit and see if it's the right length of the... Yeah, appears to be so. Okay, so I can go ahead and glue the other end. There. Okay, so those are facing each other like that. Now these two simply slip into the top of the cylinders. This one's tricky because there's a line passing around it. See if I can get that line up and around. There we go. And get that one pressed into place. Okay, are they in? Yes. I'll be honest with you, a little loose. And additionally, I'm going to snip just a hair off this because it's a little too long. And it was kind of... Okay, I'm going to get another little bit of glue here. And I'm going to place them in the top of the master cylinders because I just don't like how loose those were fitting. So let me add just a little bit there and a little bit there. Okay. Drop these in again. Oh, sorry. Once again, that hose is interfering. That is just an awkward fit. How they expect that cable or that to get around that. And oh, and that popped off too. This, I told you this is going to be a fiddly stage. And it is proving to be so. Okay, if I can get this on, then we're just going to call it good. I just don't like that little kink right here, because this post cannot stand vertical because the pipe is blocking it. But nothing I can do about that. All right, well, let me get this, let the glue kind of dry. I'm going to bring in the car itself, and we're going to attach this. Okay, the last step in this stage is attaching the lower front suspension system to the bottom of the chassis. Now, this is going to be a little quirky. Not sure if you can see up in there. There's a lot going on in there. And there's a lot going on up here, and we have to mate these two together. So I'm gingerly just going to try to line these up over the appropriate holes, and hopefully everything will sort of fall into place. Oh, hey, how about that? Hey, kudos to DeAgostini on that one. That was pretty darn good. Okay, now we want to put the IM screws in the front four, and then the DM in the back two. So let's start with the middle ones for now. Whoop. I'm going to switch to the larger screwdriver actually. We'll get a little bit more torque on it. See if I can angle that a little bit better for you. Okay, we'll do the front ones. I just can't believe how easily that dropped into position, and well, so far all these screws have lined up, but I shouldn't doubt that the rest of them won't either. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the DM, which are the rear two. Okay, last one. All right, there we have it. Look at that monster coming to life. That is impressive. Let me drop our suspension arms down. So we still have our brake lines out and available to plug into the brake system as soon as we get that installed on the outer hubs there. But yeah, it's coming together good. So that wraps up stage 13. Now we're going to move on to stage 14. Okay, I was a little premature there. We're not quite finished with stage 13. We've got to raise this control arm. If you can see here, I'll try to bring it in from this angle. And you got to bring this up into that bracket there and get those holes to align. And then, let's see if I can do this. It's not focusing on the right part, unfortunately, but let's see if I can drop this in and get that to thread through. Looks like it's going in. It's not quite threading on the back side. All right, let me bring it down. There it goes. It was just a little bit off angled. There we go. All right, that took some torque. All right, and let's bring this arm up. Same concept, into the bracket. There we go. There it goes. That was much easier. And we'll thread it till it stops. There we go. All right. Now we're done with stage 13. Let's move on to 14. All right, let's get right into stage 14. We've got a nice size package here. Now this particular stage is titled Cockpit Top Left Panel Assembly. So here's our screws. Looks like we got a little zip tie as well. That's interesting. Let's see what we do with that. So it looks like there's our panel and then all the accessories to go with it. Let's see if we can get this pack open. There we go. All right, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we need to do in stage 14 is take this cockpit panel, the top left panel, and it simply pops into place. So it looks like we've got a center pin that will plug into that hole right there. And then these little notches here will pop into the side slots right there. So let's just see if we can't get this to pop into place. I don't think we're going to need to glue it. I just want to make sure though. Maybe we'll hear a pop or a snap or something. I'm hoping. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's perfect. Oh yeah, that's solid. Okay. So you can see that fits nicely. Let me make sure that pins in. Yep. Okay, next thing we want to do is take this little bracket here, and it's going to plug into, these are awfully small. There's two little holes right there. I don't know if the light can see them or not. Try to get the angle. There they are. Yeah, there's two little holes right there. We're going to attach this bracket with these. These are tiny little screws. These are CP screws. Okay, let's see if I can get this. This is incredibly tiny. I can see now why a lot of modelers use those magnifying glasses, like on a visor. My goodness. I gotta come up with a better approach here. Let's do the left side first, that way I don't have to reach around quite as strangely. Okay, there it is. Let's see, we'll start threading. There it goes. All right, yeah, let me loosen it so I can rotate it. Okay. There it goes. Okay, that is extremely tight. All right, now we're going to do this lower piece. This is a 14 Charlie. This was 14 Bravo. The bottom one is Charlie, and it's got an angle on it, and the angle is on the top side, so it's going to sit like this with the same size itty bitty screws. So let me get the top one started first. There it goes. Okay. And we'll get the bottom one. There we go. Now I can feel that these threads may want to slip on me, so I'm not going to go too terribly tight, but that's good. They're solid. Okay, so that wraps up that one. That was a little tricky, and I don't think they're going to get much easier, but this next piece is going to be, there's one little hole right down here under the one, and that's going to be where this next bracket piece plugs into. So let me grab another CP screw. Okay, now let me get the orientation right on this. So it looks like the flat bottom is going to be, yeah, the flat part's going to be on the bottom. So it's going to sit see the hole on the side there. It's going to sit like this. So let me start the screw through that hole. See if we can't find the right spot. There it is. All right, got it. Okay, let me get that straight. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to take, let's see, where are my HM screws? We're going to take 2 HM screws. And I've got to build the suspension upright. So let me grab these. Oh, these are, I think these feel, is that metal? That might be metal. And this piece here. Let me figure out the orientation on this. There. Just like that. Let me move up to a bigger screwdriver. There we go. And from the back side, we'll screw that in to hold them together. All right. Doesn't feel like it's fully tight. Let's see if I can go a little bit more. Yeah, okay. It was a little loose because I didn't have it screwed down all the way. I was afraid of stripping it. Okay, now we're going to take our brake cooling duct and slide it over what we just assembled, and there's 2 little pins here and 2 holes there. This should just pressure fit right into place. Perfect. Yep, nice and snug, and it lays down flush with the back plate. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to lay this into the suspension system. So there's these 2 posts here, and we have the 2 arms here. Sorry, these 2. I'm like, that doesn't look right. Yeah, so we've got these two here, and they're going to plug in just like so, but you also want to make sure you get the bottom aligned as well. So let me... Okay, we're going to sandwich it in like that. Let me go ahead and get the top one started with one of the KM screws. Okay, let's get the second one in. That goes for the steering arm. Okay, so a little test run here. You can see pivoting the steering shaft will turn the wheel. So that's good to see that operating properly. Okay, now we're going to flip the car over, and okay, next thing we want to do is take our brake line and run it right along the top side of the lower arm there, which is the bottom side for us because it's inverted. Then we want to take our zip tie and wrap it around this joint right here. Let me go ahead and get the zip tie started. Okay. Pull the cable into position. Let's go ahead and cinch this down a little bit tighter. There we go. Okay, the zip tie is as tight as I can physically get it. Now I'm going to take my little snip cutters and cut that right off there at the base. And now we want to run our other, let's route the wire or the cord behind it. Now we want to bring another KM screw into the mix. And run it into the hub from the bottom side. There we go. Okay, let's make sure everything still operates. Yep, still got our steering, everything looks good. Everything's attached. That is it for the left front on this car, and that's it for this stage. So let's do a final closeout. Okay, that wraps up stages 13 and 14, and we've got one very highly detailed looking race car here. The left front end is nearing completion. We've got the left front tire hub and assembly with the suspension, the steering arm. We've got the brake line even attached. There were a lot of fiddly little pieces. That was a lot of tedious work, but oh so worth it. This thing is really coming together. It weighs a lot. This is stout. So anyway, that wraps it up for this video. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one for stages 15 and 16. We'll see you then. God bless. Bye-bye.